I call this meeting to order. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education and public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. Lindsay, read the mission and vision for us, please.
Our mission is to foster academic and social growth for each student in a safe, supportive school environment. Our vision is to be a learning community that inspires our students and staff to think critically, grow intellectually, and live with integrity.
Okay. Item 3, do we have any additions?
We need to do the pledge really quickly.
Oh, we need to do the pledge. My goodness, thank you, Jamie. Join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, item 3, are there any additions to or addition to the approval of the agenda?
Do we have to move first?
We can go ahead.
We need a motion. Do we need a motion for that since we will vote to approve it?
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
I don't know if
Have a
we need to,
motion.
we can.
I will move.
Second.
I would like to add an item to the agenda between items 4 and 5 for the quarterly report from Beyond Differences Finneytown.
Okay.
Can I share another change while we're doing this?
Yep.
On the superintendent's report, which is currently item 10, under A, under acknowledgement of resignations, the effective date for Hannah Plotz should be June 30th, 2023.
No problem.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended? Say aye. Aye. The agenda is amended. We have a motion for number 4, item 4, the approval of minutes from the regular meeting of April 17th, 2023.
I'll move.
Second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes from the regular meeting of April 17th? Kate saying aye.
Aye.
Item passes. Now the new item 5, Beyond Differences Finneytown.
Come up there, stand here.
Yeah, come on up.
Where do you, will you just change the camera for where they go, Grant? Or, okay. Good.
Hi there, Kelly and I are co-chairs of the Beyond Differences Finneytown. This is our first quarterly report. Wanted to let you know that we've introduced ourselves to the principals, to Ms. Banks, some other staff in person, and we're looking forward to getting to know everybody else as well. Our first step was to start out with the survey. We see ourselves as facilitators. You know, our goal was to try to reach more voices in the Finneytown district. A lot of the people, it's maybe more difficult for their voice to be heard, so that's our goal, is to reach out. So we thought a survey would be a good place to start with that, to get some feedback from the district. We hope to spend the summer going through that survey, developing a committee that can help move us forward on issues related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So hopefully by next fall we can start having regular meetings.
The survey hasn't quite yet been sent out yet. We're waiting for some language translations to make sure that we can, cast a wider net and making sure that we are getting more community perspectives. So that we are expecting that to be sent out to some people, which Scott will talk about probably this week.
Yeah, we had World Culture Night was our first big event, so we got to introduce ourselves to the community on Thursday. It was a lot of fun. It's an event I had been to years past, but it was cool to have it at the new elementary. We had 31 people sign up on our contact list, so like I said, we're really just looking at this as trying to facilitate as best we can community involvement, and so our first step is trying to get feedback from the community and trying to develop a committee of people that are interested in being a part of it.
And we are waiting for some preliminary results based on those surveys that we're going to send out to kind of inform our next steps. But Scott has shared it with the principals, and we're hoping to be able to get staff responses as well, so we can kind of develop a group of maybe some more involved partners that will be part of the group more so than just Scott and I, and kind of expand that reach. So again, we're waiting kind of more for the data to inform our action steps.
So one thing I missed out on, this is your first report here. Could you give a brief introduction of yourselves, if you would? Doesn't have to be super long.
Sure. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm Scott Meyer. I'm a parent in the district. We've lived here for about 8 years now. I have a 7th grader, a 5th grader, and a 1st grader. And just the small, welcoming, diverse community that we have in Finneytown was one of the main draws that brought us here. So we're excited to be able to help be a part of that and help the community grow.
And my name is Kelly Lynch. I've been a resident for about 5.5 years. I'm not a parent, I do not have any children, but I am an educator, not in this district, but I've been an educator for about 16 years. And DEI is one of my main topics and passions, so that's how I kind of got involved in this group.
Okay. Any other questions?
Scott, you're also an educator.
I am, yes. I teach science over at Diamond Oaks.
That was really nice seeing you guys at World Culture Night. A lot of people had positive words to say, and kids were really excited.
Yes, that was all Scott's swag that he brought. So that was a great idea.
Figured if we want to get contacts, we're going to have to get the kids in first, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we
games
definitely
and
had
some giveaways, you know.
We definitely had some parents who were very eager to get started and, you know, what can I do? How can I help? Like, count me in, you know? So that was awesome to see, very encouraging.
Yeah, and it was a great event, you know, of all events to have as our first one that we have a table. We're hoping to have tables, you know, even at like sporting events where just like the PTA and the music groups, you know, have a table, just an informative table. But to be able to have one at World Culture Night was fitting, you know, because we're celebrating all the different cultures in the district. So it was really cool.
Okay.
If you guys need help with contacts for those events, just let us know. We'll
Great.
get in touch.
Yeah, and thank you for the time you put in. Look forward to see how this progresses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we want to renumber all the items, Dave? Or can we just
No,
make
we're
that-
good.
Okay,
Good, got
let's
it.
just stay as is, okay. Dr. Banks, can you take us through your report?
All right, we're going to start off the administrative report, with acknowledgement of some staff members who were nominated as our quarterly staff members. So I'll turn it over to Lindsay. She's going to.
All right, not here. So I'm going to read off two. We had two nominated for our quarterly staff member. The first one is Hannah Klotz, Secondary Campus Intervention Specialist and Special Education Department Head. Hannah was nominated by Kristen Duffy, our school counselor. Hannah goes above and beyond for our students on a daily basis. This year, she has helped pilot new programs to help seniors graduate with alternative pathways and has done this with excellence and care for each student and family. Hannah, thank you for all you do for our students each day. It's appreciated. And then the second one, we have Shannon Backer, Finneytown Elementary first grade teacher. Shannon was nominated by Megan Murphy, another first grade teacher. You can come on up.
Yeah, Hannah.
Yes, I have something for you. And Hannah too. This is for you, Hannah. Where's the,
Thank
I
you.
have one more for you too. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let me read yours. Shannon does a great job developing rapport with students. She is able to maintain a relationship with previous students and has been an amazing leader in our school. Shannon, thank you for all you do for our students each day. It is appreciated.
Thank you. members, and so we started collecting names, and those were our first 2 selected. So thanks for coming, Hannah and Shannon. Other updates. So I wanted to give the board a heads up. We will be entering the final phase of becoming approved to be a Project Adams school, which includes a drill coming up at the secondary campus, where they'll do some things that they need to do to qualify. Project Adam is to be a heart-healthy school that responds to students or adults who have cardiac arrest. Grant's been leading that work along with our nursing staff, and we're really excited to be getting one step closer to that. So they shared just some events coming up. We talked about World Culture Night last week. We have the Summer Slide event coming up next week to share information with our parents and do activities with our students around literacy. We have senior nights coming up to celebrate all their accomplishments. We have concerts, all the award ceremonies. So very busy next 3 weeks. The campuses will both be bustling. I wanted to extend an appreciation to everybody who took time out to celebrate our staff last week for Staff Appreciation. We were able to gift the staff with goodies, lunch, sweatshirts, t-shirts. Everybody really showed up to make each staff member feel like they matter and that they're contributing to our work. So that was greatly appreciated. We have a couple of facility updates. We had the selection for our architect for the secondary campus. We finished that with the OFCC, and that will be Elevar. They will be designing, working with us for that. We are engaging in the CMR selection, the construction manager at risk. That will take place at the end of this month. So we are moving forward with the secondary campus project, which is really exciting. We have a PBL showcase that is open to the community that we're trying to get people to come. That's part of what we're testing out some of this equipment for tonight. That will be on May 25th. That is an all-day event. It starts at 8:20 and goes until 3 o'clock. There will be more information coming out in staff newsletters, community newsletters, so just look for that. We're excited about that. That has been predominantly led. There's a team working on it, but Mike Rosa and Mike Kennedy have really worked with our staff, and along with Grant, Eric, Jen, have really been working to put that together, so we're excited about that. Did want to officially last week, the pandemic was announced to be over, so I wanted to bring up with the board about taking off the pandemic language on our website and the reporting features, make sure everybody was okay with that, because we still have that out there. So I just wanted to update that. Are there any doubts or reservations about taking that off?
I didn't even think about that as an implication.
And that's the COVID-19 numbers.
Yeah, the
and all.
pandemic itself was taken down. The emergency status is what I was told. It's no longer an emergency status. I don't have a problem with the language coming down.
Okay. And so at this point, we would also stop sending notifications and reporting in the letters to families. So, I mean, I can't remember the last time we had one, but yeah. So I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Do we still keep track of it internally, just like we would with the flu, just if so many students out for this
We
reason?
don't really track the flu unless we see it rise to the level where we have that threshold of 25% of our staff or students are out, then obviously we would probably have to close down school. So.
Yes, you don't track the reason for that, you still track the
Okay.
percentage.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Now, is that per building? The 25%?
It's not officially spelled out in policy, very clear. It gives the discretion to the superintendent based on the staffing. And so I think if we were able to staff and get subs, we would remain open unless our nursing staff said, no, this is obviously very contagious and make the recommendation to close down, then we would
Okay.
follow that recommendation. So.
Gotcha.
I did want to briefly just share with the board a legislation update. We have been working with Hamilton County ESC. There's a group of superintendents on talking points about some changes coming down. So I did make a copy for each of you. A few of important points I wanted to just speak to. One is around student lunches. One of the things they're looking at doing, which would impact us in a positive way, is including the reduced lunch meeting that partial cost for districts. And so that would reduce some of our current lunch debt if that were to go into effect. They're trying to get it retroactively. I'm not sure if that's gonna pass or not, but that's one of the things they're working on. The other part, they're continuing to look at teacher shortage and how we can respond to that through different residency programs, trying to get more flexibility to increase, particularly in certain areas where it's hard to staff. I know intervention specialists right now is one of those areas. The literacy, some of the things they're looking at changing, one is in the Ohio's third grade reading guarantee, they're looking at eliminating the retention clause for students who don't meet that threshold, and then modifying or giving a little bit more flexibility around the science of reading and some of the other mandates that come with that, so with the dyslexia law. And the one probably I'm most concerned about is the last one, the school choice. Right now they're looking at potentially approving vouchers for anyone who is at the 450% of poverty level. That, according to what we're being told, is almost 75% of the students in Ohio would be eligible for vouchers to go to private schools on public dollars. So that is concerning for many reasons. So we are working really hard to, right now that threshold is 250% of the poverty level. And so this would more than, this would be significant increase.
And this may be a question for the meeting next week, not a board meeting, but
Yeah.
a PTA meeting. That funding for private schools, would that be for children potentially that go to private schools that never attended the
Right
school
now,
district?
it would allow for that, yes.
So if someone that went to St. Vivian's their entire life could ask for money from our public district and take it for themselves?
Correct.
Okay.
So we are working on, one of the things they've talked about is creating some sort of indicator where we can actually compare private and public schools, because right now that indicator does not exist. It's apples to oranges. And so we are working with them on that, but in order to do that, the state has to either put some parameters, testing parameters around the private schools that are equal to the public schools, so mandate the same testing, or give more flexibility to the public schools in their testing requirements. So those are some other conversations that are happening right now.
How many students in a district like ours would fall at the 450%? Probably like.
I would say probably close to 80% of our
yeah.
students,
And
85 maybe.
And even the ones that are going to private school, probably half of them might even qualify, or more. Wow, that's a significant.
Some percentage, yeah.
So I wanted to share that. We'll know more. That's kind of in the current version. Still a lot of testimony going on, a lot of advocacy by OSBA, by BASA. So that is for you. And then,
So real quick,
yeah.
Dave, has this gotten far enough for you to have any consideration of what this might do for, you know, if this were to go into effect, like how soon that would, you know, cause a levy? Is this, 'cause I know there's a certain point in legislation where it's just wasted time to try to do a calculation like that.
That's where I consider at this point.
Okay,
It's
great.
impossible to try to figure out what that would be. It'd be decimating, but I can't tell you
Right.
how you could plan around any time frame. You have to go back based upon that.
Okay, yeah. I just know it's not always worth the time, yeah.
One of the positive things on there is they did put in to continue this fair school funding calculation and to update the cost sets to, they were, I think, 2019, and they're updating them to, I believe, 2022. So that will be of benefit. So. Then I also wanted to share, I had put in my update that I sent, just, I know this week we will be in conversation around paid parental leave. There was a group of us that met internally just to kind of talk about and think about what those potential impacts could be. I wanted to share with all the board before we go in, just some of the doubts or reservations we want to process with you and with the union. But one is definitely the substitute teaching. That is an issue regardless. And so right now we have 2 building subs at the secondary campus, 1 building sub at Finneytown Elementary. Our fill rates are inconsistent and low most of the time, and so just what does that look like in terms of coverage? We talked about substitute teacher qualifications. We continue to use, some of our subs do have high school diplomas, which is allowable, and we've talked about before, but on a regular long period of time, we do have concerns about that. Teacher capacity, some of the concerns we have there is the quality of programming for extensive planned absences, and the impact on team collaboration. And then what does that look like for conferences, grades, just other things we have to think about for long-term coverage. Student capacity, the impact of inconsistency for student learning, increase in discipline when subs are in the classroom. And then the administration, finding and maintaining coverage. That is something I know every morning, that's how Carol and Meredith start their day, is with their administrative assistants, is figuring out what that coverage looks like, whether it's subs or internal coverage. Increased need for supports to maintain the quality and pace of the instruction we're looking for. And then parent capacity, what does that look like in terms of communicating with our parents? A lot of times when we have long-term subs, somebody else picks up that parent communication. A lot of times our long-term subs, depending on what's going on, they're not the ones speaking with our families. So just something we gotta figure out or think about. Is there a risk that if we have inconsistency in the classroom with our educators, that parents will choose a different option that's not us? And then some of the kind of unintended consequences based on research is increase in absences for our students and staff. Legal concerns about, particularly when we talk about intervention specialists, it's hard to get coverage and provide minutes for our students who have especially designed instruction on an IEP, and we want to make sure we stay compliant with those. The infrastructure of our education system, we're not sure it can handle the impact of this, and then just the increase of administration and teaching staff to accommodate, and the possible disruption to the things that we say are important to us. So if you have a sub in the classroom who has not been trained on RP, how can they institute RP, which is something that's important to us? Or PBL, if they're coming from a different model and they're coming in for a period of time, what does that look like? And how does that impact our overall system and where we want to go? So I typed them out so you guys had them. I just wanted to bring them up as things that we're thinking about as potential impacts. So.
Can you talk a little bit about what building subs are and how that works, and whether they're like Finneytown employees or all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's one of the other challenges. All of our subs are through the COG, so they're not technically our employees. They're employees of Hamilton County, and we have a contract with them for sub solutions. So I know right now we have about 28 on that sub list that have been in our building, according to conversations with our building principals, and about 6 of them are fairly regular. And then we had a situation recently where we had to take somebody off the list because of just, it wasn't a good fit. And so that's the other thing. Sometimes we have a long-term sub who comes in, and it's not the right fit for us. So just different things we have to contend with, so.
But you mentioned specifically there's 2 building subs at the secondary, one at the elementary. So are those also through?
They're through the COG.
Okay, but they're just planned to be here every day, is
Yep.
that how it works? Okay.
Yep.
Do long-term subs get paid the same as regular subs?
They get paid at a slightly higher rate,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's $25 more a day.
What's
I
the
would have to check.
What's the fill rate for absences been? Has there been a need for internal coverage by admin or teachers?
We've had, it wasn't like last
Currently,
year.
but-
Yeah, this year's been much better. The other day, our fill rate is anywhere from, on a good day, we'll hit 80-85%. Most days we're probably around 65.
So at what point do you have other teachers covering that for fill rate? Is that anything below 100?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, anytime we don't, yeah.
Then they might
Hit
pick
on.
up a bell here, a bell there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then do we pay the teachers more than we might pay a sub? Because part of the negotiated contract is that they have to pay
We
is
play
what
for
we pay.
that time
And that's
based on the
more per hour
contract.
than what a sub would be anyway.
The contract is, for the sub, it's a daily rate.
Mhm.
For the contract, it's a set
Yeah.
amount for the plan, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Probably comes out to double cost.
It's just,
Per hour.
it is for their plan bill, which is not
Yeah,
great. but-
which makes sense, but I'm saying if you had more
Yeah.
absences, then you're talking more double cost.
Yeah.
If you had to fill them internally.
All right, and anything else on? And I believe that is all for me.
Any other questions for Dr. Banks? Okay. Time for a public address. Mr. Howard, you are up.
My name is Bob Hauer. I'm at 7160 Winton Road. My question is, of course, this is a school district business question, and it's to, where do we go to get an update to the Whitaker School project? I know I guess Springfield Townships, whenever they're questioned, they always say, no, this is up, that question has to be answered by the school district. So I wonder if anybody can give us an update as to what's proceeding with that project. And if not, where do we go? Apparently the Springfield Township is kicking the ball back over to you guys.
And typically, I didn't read the preamble here because you've spoken before. Usually, we don't respond now, but I would like, Dr. Banks, what's the next communication the community should expect on that?
Yeah, so internally right now, we're working on a question and answer document that will get sent out to the community based on our first 2 meetings. And that will provide the answers that were brought forth there. We are currently scheduled to meet with the township at the end of the month to have a conversation about what's possible next. Beyond that, there have been no additional steps taken at this time. And so right now, we're just working through the questions that have been asked and gathering again with the township.
At that point, does responsibility go to the township? And
Honestly,
get-
I can't answer that
There's-
question.
The school district?
Yeah, there's a lot of steps that go after that. Yeah, so, one thing that was at the last public meeting was the board's next step will be to have a preferred developer agreement. And at this point in time, we're still trying to find out how we do that. Like, we can have ideas what we're looking for, but how do we get those ideas we're looking for presented such to have that? So we're still pretty early days there as far as that's concerned. And as we have more information, we'll get it out. But right now, one of the things that was also in the last public meeting is the district has to work with another entity like the township. And so our next steps with them and how that works, we will understand May 30th is that next meeting. So right now, nothing has changed, nothing has moved. The board has not taken this next step because until we're informed by the township, by working with them, we need that to inform our next steps. So I'm sorry I don't have more information, but that's where it stands. And it is not a small amount of work to take all the questions and have them answered out the way they're doing it, but it's important work that our district office is undertaking.
Okay, I'm just concerned that seems like that's leaving a lot of money on the table that the school district could use by postponing it or holding off on it, but maybe that's
It's the process. Yeah. Okay. Board coordination will start.
Okay.
Oh, James.
First off, World Culture Night, I'll just say very quickly, it was so well attended. It was so hot in that room, even though the air conditioner was kicking and working and the whole bit. Tons of kids there. Everybody had fun, lots of smiles. I think the community had a great time with it. And I learned of a feta cheese I'd never had before, and it was fantastic at one of the Greek tables. Second thing, Laura, you'd mentioned paid parental. I'm disappointed that we're still working on it. It's been 6 months now that we've been talking about it. I wished it was further along the process, but we're going to get there. And the third thing I mentioned really quickly, next Monday, the 22nd of May, at Finneytown Elementary, the Brookwoods with the elementary PTA has got a great opportunity for the district for some of the stuff that Lori just talked about with the legislative actions in the state. Dunny Isaacson, a state representative from just south of us, he is on the State Education Funding Committee. He's going to come and give a presentation and answer questions. And Jessica Miranda, who's also a state rep from a little north of us. Jessica used to be on Winton Woods' PTA. She was a school board member at Winton Woods. Now she's state rep for the northern part of the county. She's on the State Education Legislation Committee. She'll be joining Dunny for the conversation. I think it's at 6:30 at Finneytown Elementary. They're giving us about an hour and a half of their time. It'll be a good presentation. They're both very well versed on what they're working on, and they're looking forward to the chance to interact and answer questions. So I would recommend, if you have any questions about what Lori just talked about or anything else on the state of education in Ohio, specifically to the state and the state government, please attend and ask questions and learn.
Okay, now regarding paid parental leave, to vote on that and give the union time to vote on it, I'm not planning to have a special meeting, but don't count out having a special meeting, because we want to, I think we'd be really pressing it to wait till our next regular meeting for us to vote. And then by then the school will be out, and having a teacher's vote could be a press. So just kind of
keep it in mind.
Yeah, keep in mind it could be a special meeting regarding that.
Okay. That's me.
Okay.
Not much for me. FAA, I did attend their meeting. Just wrapping up seasons, getting ready to talk about the next seasons for all the different sports. Volleyball has had a great first year. They're really excited with how things have gone. Boosters, I didn't attend, but they're preparing for the Greek parking, talking, finishing up seasons, senior nights, things like that. And then they have a meeting this Wednesday and would love for parents and community members to come. It's here at the school at 7 p.m. OSBA, they are always looking for volunteers for their regional committees. In fact, every time I talk to OSBA, they ask me to join the regional committees. So if anyone is interested in doing that, the application is due by June 30th. Another thing OSBA is doing, they have grants available to replace old buses. They're doing this really big initiative, so I don't know how our buses are, but if that's something that we're looking into, might be good information. And then May 23rd, they have their virtual forum. They have the State Board of Education President, Paul LaRue, attending. So that might be really, informative as well.
Okay. So I think that our next meeting, regular meeting, is scheduled for Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday. It's also a school holiday, so we need to figure out when we're doing it. So understand the next day, we usually go to Tuesday. I understand it's not good for everybody, not everybody's available. Tuesday 20th.
No, I think everybody but one person will be able to be there. So I think we decided that if we wait the following week, we have 2 people out.
Okay.
So we were thinking, I think based on my emails and conversations, that we would do the 20th.
Okay.
If that still works for 4 out of 5.
Yep, but we would need to, so.
Not sure, I was thinking the 26th. Had it wrong.
So let's check on that. Now we do, but we need to vote for that at the beginning of the year as part of our. I'm
You
presuming.
could just announce a change.
Okay, great. It's not like the academic calendar. So is that,
Yeah, I'll be out of town, but that's okay. I'm going
okay,
without me.
okay, great. So June 20th then. So I have a very nice setup for my wife right outside one of our basement windows with a faucet and everything. And it came off and filled in my basement the afternoon of World Culture Night. So I missed my first World Culture Night. I understand it was spectacular. Lindsay showed me she got up to like a crow's nest type picture, just to show how full it was. So, not happy. I'd rather have been there than taking care of a wet basement. Also had the Finneytown Schools Education Foundation meeting. I'm talking there about with the money anticipated coming in, they're going to be becoming trustees. Just a lot of organizational changes, including they have funding to hire somebody part-time to help run the Alumni Association and help run that as well. Cool. So look forward to hearing a word for that as they putting together the job description. Let's see, I think that is all for me.
Hopefully they hire an alumni.
Yeah, one's interested.
Awesome. So I did not attend the FMPA meeting this month because it's my month off, but I did review the minutes from the meeting, and I do know from some communications that I've received from email from all the FMPA representatives and board members that they are revamping their fundraising going into next year. So there no longer will be cookie dough fundraising, which has been a staple of the bands and music program for a while. So they just had not been bringing in the kind of funds that people that we used to be able to raise doing that. I don't know if people are buying their cookie dough on Amazon or what, but so they're honing in on the fundraisers that are the most lucrative. So most of them will be staying around. So the golf outing's on June 3rd. So come out if you like to play golf. Schedule for that. I know we have a lot of people that don't even live in Finneytown or that aren't necessarily otherwise connected with our schools that participate in that. So if you like to golf, that's something to look for. I will be at the PPL meeting with the unions on this Thursday, and even though I'm at the meeting, I'm just have to see what we have and what the union comes to in our conversations before I make a decision. So did want to say, if you haven't had a chance to walk back in Warder Nature Preserve recently, it's coming along. It's technically open to the public, even though there's no sign up. At least that's my understanding. So they've actually run electric for some light posts, it looks like, or something like that. So pretty cool. It's coming along. Ponds are drained, but still a nice little walk. So I'm looking forward to it being actually developed and maybe feeling slightly safer, because it's a little sketchy sometimes when you're back there. So it'd be cool once it's done. So I also finally got to meet the manager of City Barbecue. I met him last week. He's fantastic. His name's Brandon. He lives in Finneytown with his wife. And he told me about the grand opening, which is on May 22nd. And then he also expressed that City Barbecue and himself, and they're interested in any and all partnerships with us as a district. So I expect there'll be some sort of communication, probably between Lori and Tim, once I get you guys hooked up, about what that could look like. But he said even using their parking lot, like the sky's the limit as far as he's concerned, because they are all for being committed and involved in their community. And just like I said, he's a really cool guy. So if you're not doing anything on the 22nd, that might be something to attend. They're also going to be putting a Finneytown Wildcat logo sign somewhere prominent in the location. They no longer do murals on their walls with the newer locations, because I guess that's not modern. But they'll also have, just so that you know what to look for, they'll have some neighboring school district logos up as well. But apparently the Finneytown one's going to be in the most prominent location.
And it should be the biggest one.
And he did say it probably would be. So he's pretty excited. He asked me, he said, what is Finneytown? So I got the chance to talk to him. He said, well, I'm one of the people that could best describe that. So most of the other ones are in this room or home with their kids. So anyway, that's all I have.
All right, in honor of staff appreciation, I wanted to take this time to honor Laurie and Dave for their efforts in the district. I know you don't like surprises, but we want to thank you guys for everything you do. You show up, you show out, you support our district, and we're grateful for all your efforts. So thank you for all that you do. They work late, they stay late. There's times they don't eat dinner, which I'm sure you haven't tonight. So thanks for all you do to make Finneytown a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys want to open them?
I do.
Okay. They're putting in 50+ hours a week, so. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. All right. So moving on, primary PTA. You want to read the card or no?
I did.
Okay.
Well, no, not out loud.
Okay. May 22nd, Jamie touched on this. The PTA is hosting a discussion with the state reps, so I won't go into that. That starts at 6:30 at Finneytown Elementary. The next Skyline Dying to Donate is June the 1st, as well as the Elementary Talent Show. That's on June 1st as well. Gina Baston is the lead dance teacher for the PTA, and she is retiring. So they are currently looking for someone to lead the dance program. Thanks to Gina for all of her efforts. I think she's been in the district for at least 17 years, so she will be missed. If you know anybody looking to be in charge of that, reach out to Brooke Woods and she can get you connected. Thanks to all of our PTAs for spoiling our staff members. It was just so nice to be in the buildings and see everybody feel appreciated. It was just joy, excitement. It was really exciting to watch. So thanks to everybody who chipped in for gifts, food, all of that. I also wanted to touch base with you guys. Al Long reached out. He is actually the board of directors for North College Hill Great Oaks. He reached out to see if we'd be interested in joining him for the ceremony for our graduates over at Great Oaks. So I have the information there for you guys if you guys are interested in attending. That will be held on May 22nd, and that's for our students at the Oaks. I want to make sure that we represent all of our students fairly. I don't know if you guys have done that in the past.
Yeah, we usually, somebody from the secondary campus goes, and then
Okay.
typically one of our administrators from the district office attends.
Okay, so we have information on that. I also wanted to say, last month, Laurie, myself, and her team, we put together a pizza party for our students who had perfect attendance. We had 52 students from the elementary campus and 18 from the secondary. Happy's Pizza sponsored that, so the students were super excited. Thanks to Meredith and Carol for also helping facilitate that, and it was a great turnout. It was good. It was good to see. The students were super excited, so. Quite a bit of stuff to share. Also, the PBL presentation that Laurie touched on. Mike Kennedy, Mike Rosa, and all of their team have worked really hard with their students on project-based learning. There will be different acts as well from advocacy, as well as students are creating an app for the district. So there's been a lot of planning on that. I know Mike Kennedy and Mike Rosa have had a lot of planning with the alumni, as well as different people in the community. So I know Tony might have been interested in attending that event. Sorry guys, I'm having one of those days
That's
today.
fine.
I'm like
Nick,
scatterbrained, jittery.
You got any notes, just
Woo.
go with it.
Goodness. And in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I just want to touch a little bit on that. 1 in 5 of our children live in a serious they have diagnosable mental illness. I'm wearing my shirt today. I have some pens for those who are interested in raising awareness, and I also have pamphlets. It's something that our students are facing in our district and as well as in our world, and it's something we need to address. It's an issue. A friend of mine was supposed to be here today, but she wasn't able to attend. Do we have teletherapy for our district?
It's interesting you say that. That's
Yeah.
something we're currently working on. We don't
Okay.
right now.
Because I know that it would probably free up our counselors if we had that option for our students, that they could talk with someone if they needed it, so.
We do have Catalyst in the building,
Mhm.
and then we are working with an outside provider. I think I shared that with you guys last year, and it's just been a process. And so Dave and I are actually meeting this week to look over that MOU and what that would look like if we went into partnership with that. And one of the things they can do is telehealth and teletherapy.
Okay, and there was also another organization, Handle with Care. I don't know if you've heard of that, but they'll come out to the district and train staff to work with students to help them with their struggles. So I know we do have partnerships in place, but I feel like the more partnerships we have, it'd be helpful.
I'll look into it.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I knew I was forgetting
Oh,
something.
yeah, I
Could-
forgot about that.
oh, yeah.
Board self-assessment, yes.
Yep.
I wanted to see what we could do to get back on track for the board self-assessment. I know that we had some issues come up and we wanted to delay it a little bit, but I wanted to see what we could do to get back on track with that. I feel like we need to do our due diligence, and we're kind of into our second year. I want to make this happen. I want to know what we can do as a board to mend some of the challenges that we're facing. I want to know what we can do to get back on track where we can start working effectively together as a board.
So do we want to find a date? Are we thinking in June or in July, or, because I think we're, you know,
Yeah.
we're almost, May is not going to happen, but,
Mhm.
so what do people know about their summer plans for this?
I have my calendar
Okay.
ready to go.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to meet in June, soon as possible, the sooner the better. I mean, there's at least 2 of us that have expiring terms, so if we're gonna meet, we should meet soon, because this particular board could change. We don't know. So.
Does anybody have any doubts or reservations before we move forward?
No, I think June should work. I know May is a really busy month as,
Yeah,
just
May's
look
not
at
gonna
the
happen
list
for
of
anybody.
activities, but, June, everything kind of clears out, so.
And we were looking for a weekday evening or a weekend. I know Cheryl had different availability.
See, I don't know what her availability will be
Okay.
as of right now, so.
Do we have a,
need to just kind of
Well,
I
give
can
us a
shoot
couple week
dates out.
range?
I just
and then
want to
we can
make
say-
sure we can move
Yeah.
forward with the process.
Yeah, if you tell us, hey, Cheryl's available these days, we'll tell you when we're available.
Yeah, she will facilitate on
Um,
weekends. Do we have a preference for a weekend or for evening?
I
of
would
this
prefer
coming-
not weekends.
Not
Yeah,
weekends.
It's summer for
Okay.
me, but I respect not having it on weekends.
Mhm.
Okay,
I
because
will
that's
say
not-
every Thursday in June is absolutely open. Just Monday and Tuesdays are really the weeknights that I'm usually not
Okay.
available.
So shoot
Anything
for,
other than that.
shoot for Wednesday or Thursday
Yeah,
in
I mean,
June?
sounds great to me.
Okay.
We try to plan around anyone's vacations they may have, so.
Yeah.
I don't have vacation until August.
I'm not going out of town in June,
Oh,
so
except
anytime
for-
in June's pretty much.
The 26th just happened.
Do you have any vacations or anything?
First
planned
week of
yet?
August is my vacation.
Mm.
So we're looking for Wednesdays and Thursdays,
Yeah.
the first available Wednesday and Thursday kind of in June.
Yeah,
Works out for
probably
Cheryl.
so.
Okay. I'll reach out and let you know.
Yeah, that's a good.
I would also ask about exit surveys. I know we mentioned exit surveys a while back. I know Jamie was getting something together for us to write out to contact parents, I believe, or
Oh.
who left the district. We kind of dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if we were still working on that.
It would be nice to have, I think, some sort of exit survey.
What did we, okay,
I feel like we have one drafted.
okay.
I'm pretty sure we do. I'll double check that as one of my.
Would this be a board
things.
member making the calls, or is this a staff member making the calls?
No, it's, well, so there's an opportunity, so but there's not always an interaction when somebody leaves. Sometimes you just get a records transfer request, but at that time, there's always been an opportunity made to make comments, but that's not nearly
Yeah.
as, useful as a survey.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we
So
were
it's
talking
something that they
about,
would
at
do.
that point in time, instead of just giving a blank, everything to say, giving a link to a survey, something, is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think it's a Google form.
I
I
think so.
personally think that'd be
the original
fantastic,
was
so.
a phone call, but
From a
it doesn't
board
have to
member
be.
was the original.
I don't necessarily want to put something on somebody in the admin offices, Lori, if you think that'd be appropriate for someone to do. And the more information, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's gonna be hard if we put it on a staff member in district office because our mobility rate is so high. And so if we're trying to capture
Oh,
every
seriously.
student who moves or in and out of the district, I mean, that would be pretty challenging.
How many,
We talked about the numbers, and it was gonna be board members that were gonna make the calls, so that
Yeah,
we
that's what I
didn't
thought.
put the
We split
burden
them
on
up.
the
Yeah,
staff.
so I think
Yeah.
in addition to the survey, an opportunity to give, because a lot of times the contact information isn't good. So with the survey would you like to be called by a school board member and discuss this? Is that what we'd like to put in there?
I'll have to look, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Originally, we
what
had the
draft
list,
was.
we knew who everybody
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and we were just gonna break it up and call them.
Yeah.
Cause I think part of it was calling people who chose a different option
Right.
than us, who were at a
Homeschool
parochial school or
or
a
parochial
homeschool or
or-
something like
so
that.
it'd be one batch of
That's
calling
a-
per year, is that the idea?
That's a
We get
different
those?
call than calling, why did you withdraw?
Yeah.
Which, when somebody withdraws, there is a part of the sheet when they withdraw their child where it says, I'm moving to a new location, there's something that indicates why they are moving.
Yeah,
There is,
versus,
though, a
versus
lot of
not
parents who
moving.
probably don't get that if they open enrolled and the school pulled the information themselves as well.
Right.
I know from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about,
Yeah,
right.
so,
A lot of times it's just a transfer record to whoever.
I'd be happy to help work with you on that if you want.
Okay.
Figure it out.
I'll share what we've got so
It'd be a
far.
matter of whether we're doing it on like a rolling basis, or whether it's just one set of calls at the end of the year. But if
Right, and-
I'm given a list and I'm told to call and have a general script that we put together, I can make time for that.
Right,
So-
it doesn't necessarily have to be all of them ongoing, it could be a sample.
Yeah. It'd just be important that we keep to a certain
Yeah.
script.
We'll see the
way of
number,
doing
they're
things, so.
contactable, it might be feasible, everybody's contactable, requested, it might be very easy to do that.
Right, exactly.
Okay. I did want to talk about going to both buildings, walking both buildings, getting our 10,000 steps in. Jaleesi and I walked the elementary, and it shouldn't be a surprise, but it was like this, I knew the teachers would like it, but like the genuine, like overwhelming appreciation. It was just, you know, it's like such a small thing compared to the huge things they do every single day. So it was quite the joy. And although I was tired when I was done, really energized the whole time I was doing it.
Yeah.
So it was really a great experience. It's something Jaleesa has been heading up, and I've been going hand in out with her, so it's been very good. Thank you.
Miss you next year.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
I would do it if I wasn't at school myself, so.
Okay, now, we're ready to move on. Got a motion for item 8, financial matters, 8.1, the adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Oliverio, take us through consent calendar.
Interest rate. Yeah. Last increase.
First item is the monthly financial report. The general fund in the month of April, we had $893,751 in revenue. Fiscal year-to-date revenues in the general fund, $18,484,036. Expenditures in the month of April, $1,501,391 in fiscal year-to-date, $16,034,805. Ending cash balance in the general fund at the end of April was $15,593,464.
Dave, could you share why why our expenditures are less than budgeted this month? Is that just something that happens occasionally?
I think it's timing. Still, I think as a percentage, we're pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not concerned about that, but I do think that timing can affect that. So it'll be,
As far as
you know,
when the
interesting
contracts
when
are
we
paid
come
out,
at the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions on that report? Next item, B, depository investment balances as of April 30th, 2023. U.S. Bank account, $605,796. U.S. Bank Construction Fund, $3,684,052. Star Ohio, $21,698,933. Star Ohio, $3,099,053. Star Ohio Construction Fund number 1, $1,198,494. Item C, the interest earned for the month of April for our general fund, that was $91,741, and for our construction fund, $18,059. So item D is the monthly bond project spending commitment report. That's the last report on the financial handout. And not a lot happened this month. Looks very similar to last month, but anyway, at this point, we've expended $23,645,000 approximately, and we have purchase orders or commitments outstanding at this point of approximately $740,000. So we still have some amounts left on our CMR contract, and there's a couple things that we've ordered that haven't come in, like bleachers for the elementary. We're winding down.
Okay, that's in the consent calendar, huh?
Yes.
I have roll call vote, please.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Item passes. Do I have a motion for 8.2, approval of resolution?
I will move.
I'll second.
Okay, so this is a recommendation to approve the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission. This happens every year at this time. This is based on the information provided in the tax budget, which the board approves in January, sends to that commission. They take some time to look at it. They've approved all of our millage as approved for our operating fund and our permanent improvement fund and our class facilities maintenance fund. What they have done this time, though, is in looking at our cash balances, our debt service schedules, they're recommending a reduction in the millage for debt service. So that's good news. So actually went down a little bit last year, quite a bit this year. So we're about 4.5 mils lower than we were at our high point back in 2019. So it's good for our community that their taxes will be a little bit lower. So anyway, I think that's good news for everyone.
So since we have more money in the bank, the taxes are, the amount that we're allowed to tax is reduced slightly?
We're allowed to tax whatever we need,
Okay.
but this is what they're projecting now. Things can change. These rates won't be finalized until November. If something were to change, they can adjust that. But right now, they feel comfortable with lowering it to these amounts. And so it does leave us with a bit of a cushion, cash reserve, if something was to happen. But they feel like those rates can be lowered now, and that we'll still be fine, and our debt service will be safe.
So taxes are going down slightly?
It doesn't, no, not that, no.
What's that?
I asked if it impacted his budgeting.
Right.
So that it's in a separate fund, so it won't have any impact on, for instance, the financials we look at or operating the school in any way.
So short term, taxes go down slightly,
Yes.
probably.
Mhm.
So how much on a $100,000
Well,
home
now-
is the decrease, unless there's a...
What I,
That's too complicated.
yeah, what I will say
Sorry.
is that this is
Fair
a
Valuation.
reappraisal year, and so valuations will go up.
Okay.
So there's still, the chance that, that'll creep back up. Of course,
Right.
I can't tell you what the increase in
Right.
property values will be, and it'll be different for everybody. It's not the same for everybody.
So millage going down by about 4 mils, probably.
Yeah, about 4 mils
Okay.
from last year to
So
this
people
coming year.
want to do the math, assuming that their value doesn't go up, even though property value will go up,
Yeah.
then they could do that.
But
Right.
it's not simple math.
Yeah.
Um,
it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, but this is specific for the bond retirement fund, which is what they target.
Exactly, the
Right, and
bond
there's,
retirement.
and this is for what all bonds are covered in there. That covers, I know we have 2, which have a small number of years left on. Does this also cover the permanent, the building bond?
Right, yeah, all of our bonds, so yeah, we've got our 2022 bonds, and so, that's the majority of our debt.
Right.
And then we've got 3 others they're smaller, and they'll be rolling off in a
Right.
couple of years.
Yeah, and then, so it wasn't really anticipation, that was just the whole picture, and then
Right.
there'll be a larger amount taken off when those are retired or next. 3 years?
A lot of that reduction has already happened, so
It's
there's
already-
not,
okay.
there's not a whole lot
Okay,
left.
so it's kind of happen, okay,
Yeah.
there might be another one I think the last one rolls off in 3 years?
And so they've already rolled back a lot of that millage for
okay.
those 2. So, yeah, we'll see a little bit more reduction, but the significant part's already occurred, or will occur in January.
Great. Any other questions? A roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Item passes. Number 9, executive session. This will be about 15 minutes, thinking? I don't know, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a motion.
I'll move. Oh,
Go ahead.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, so this is, the executive session is consult with an attorney for the Board of Education concerning disputes involving the Board of Education, the subject of pending or imminent court action, and also in order to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee. When we come back, there will still be superintendent's consent agenda. And is that
And Hamilton County Educational Service Center,
okay?
ESSER stipends,
Yeah,
capital for lots
so
of stuff.
several things, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I need a roll call.
roll call vote, please.
Okay, Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Gast,
Yes,
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. Ray.
Yes.
item passes. We are in executive session. I have motion for superintendent's recommendations and 10.1, adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll move.
Second. You got Felicia? Okay, take us through this, please.
Okay. Let me find my place, sorry. All right. Item A is an acknowledgement of our resignations and or retirements coming this year. Item B is identifying the 3 new positions we talked about, the literacy coordinator, transition coordinator, and gifted coordinators. Those were all hired. So Jen Bayless will be our literacy coordinator, Mike Grody will be our transition coordinator, and Janelle Souders will be our gifted coordinators. That is all teacher contract, and those positions were designed to not only work in collaboration with our facilitators and our teachers, but also to address some new legislation with the dyslexia law and
Gotcha.
other compliance factors. So,
And just to be clear, these are full-time, this is their full
yes,
focus.
full jobs, correct. And literacy and gifted are K-12, and so they'll be working on both campuses.
Wow.
And then Mike Grody will be at the secondary campus to begin with, at least predominantly working with our 7th and 12th graders with disabilities and hoping to spread that to all of our students, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's great.
Big-
So we'll be posting for their positions internally, externally, whatever.
Those
we're currently-
postings went up, yep.
Okay.
So, and that's in the process.
Could you just spend a few minutes and describe the transition coordinator?
Yes, transition coordinator, so there is for under IDEA, which is the special education law, there's a requirement for all students who turn 14 to start have a transition plan. And so
Okay.
specific to this position, as well as graduation requirements, they will help with partnerships and identify pathways for our students with disabilities in that planning process. So they'll be working with our intervention specialists as well as internal and external partnerships to create job pathways and career training and or college pathways, so.
Okay, now, what's the oldest a student can stay within the school system, especially?
They age out at 21 is their last year, yes.
So if they're 21 when the year starts, school year starts?
As soon as they hit, oh gosh, I knew you were gonna put me on the spot, I believe it's 22. As soon as they hit 22, they age out regardless of the time of year.
And is the
Okay.
exception for students with like severe special needs?
No.
No?
No.
22 is end date.
22, okay.
22.
Yeah.
So, we work really hard to transition to get all of our students to graduate on time. And if not, we work with partnerships with DDS and
Yep.
Developmental Disability Services and Ohio's for, OOD, but who also do job training and placement, so.
So this
the
is not a
acronyms.
partnership with the vocational schools?
No, this is not.
Okay.
This is, there might be, like our students, we still attend and partner with Diamond and Scarlet for our students with disabilities who go there. We still attend their IEP meeting. So in theory, yes, he could still be working or connecting with those partnerships too, so. I stand corrected. All right. Item C is approval of our 1-year limited contracts. Those are all our educators who are on a 1-year limited. Then item D is our retire rehire crew. We have item E is supplementals for the sports season. Item F is a percentage raise for this coming school year. And then item G is the same thing, it's a percentage raise for those employees. Item H, there is one correction to item H, Dave, just so you know. Those are all certified staff members who will work in the summer. But the only ones who are actually summer school, Dave, are Mike Fairman, and he's actually classified. So, and then Sonia Gardner and Joseph Grothy, all three of them are doing summer school at secondary campus. At that pay, actually, Mike Fairman would be at his regular rate. I just noticed that, I'm sorry. The other people listed there are ELA summer work. They're secondary campus ELA department, and they get together and they do planning during the summer, so.
Those are extended days? Is that the
No, it's
terminology, or-
hourly rate. It's at 1987 curriculum pay.
Okay.
And that's per contract.
Okay.
Item I is our subs. Item J is exciting. That's the list of our candidates for graduation this year, which we will be celebrating on June 9th. So, item K is approval of our Hamilton County ESD contract. That contract includes everything from our speech therapists, our occupational therapists, our physical therapists, our behavior consultant, along with some other EL instructor. And so that's the total cost of the contract, parceled out between general fund and federal funds. Item, where am I at? L, approval of resolution for auxiliary participation. This is our partnership with Central Baptist and St. Vivian in their auxiliary services. Item M is a list of our school fees. Those will remain the same going into next school year. There's no increase. And lastly, item N, acceptance of donations. We have a cash donation of $1,000 to the Finneytown High School Poetry Club from Allison, I'm gonna say Crayons, I hope I said that right, on April 14th. And we have a cash donation of $3,000 to the Finneytown Athletic Department from the Finneytown Education Foundation on April 24th for the purchase of sweatsuits for the track team.
Quick question on Gerald's contract.
Yes.
How did we come up with this salary? Looking at the Madeira study that we've referred to many times, he seems to be the lowest paid athletic director.
So this is his second year of his current contract, and so that is the percentage raise
Okay.
of the existing contract.
Okay.
So.
How robust is our exit interview for staff? I'm sure, I know I've heard you mention one, I think.
So we have conversations with our staff, like in terms of, we don't have like a system in place currently, to be quite honest. So some of our staff we know are leaving for administrative opportunities in other districts. Some are retirement. The ones who are leaving, if there is a situation, I'm trying to think, to my knowledge, we're not losing anyone to another district for a teaching position, a lateral move. We do have several staff members who are choosing to stay at home with their families. So,
At least
but
not
if,
yet, but they have till July 10th, right?
huh?
They have till July.
Yes, yes.
Is it July 10th?
July 10th.
Okay.
So we still have some time where there may be transition and switching. But if there are questions we want to ask, at one point, Personnel Committee was talking about doing a stay interview about why staff stay versus why they leave.
That's a good.
And
I
so,
think not just to cover why they leave, but any parting words or advice that we can learn from them or their perspective that, give them a last chance type of thing to,
I'll bring that
opportunity
up
to grow.
at the next Personnel Committee as a item for us.
As long as it doesn't add a whole bunch of extra work, so.
Any other questions?
I think there's one more donation to read. Not sure.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Did you read the one about the sweatsuits?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I missed it. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Oliver, may roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Abstain.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes. Item passes. We're on to item 11, resolution authorizing the payment of stipends from ESSER funds. We have a motion.
I'll move. I'll second.
So who's going to take us through this?
I can.
Thanks, Dave.
So this is a Me Too provision we negotiated with two unions, classified and certified unions, a year ago at this time. And as part of that, the MOU stated, and much of that's repeated and pulled into this resolution about the board's gratefulness to them for the extra efforts that they extended to mitigate the negative impacts of the COVID pandemic. So a lot of that language is pulled in here. The reason this is done is because the other staff wasn't able to be represented by those proceedings, and so this is an opportunity to take care of the exempt staff and the administration, not the superintendent or treasurer, but the other administration. And so it's being recommended at the same level, $600 for full-time, $300 for part-time staff for this year.
To mirror what the teachers received last year. Is that
I'm
correct?
sorry?
To mirror what the teachers received last year.
No, what the teachers will receive this year.
Yeah, it was-
What, oh,
Yeah,
the teachers
we
are
did this
receiving it
last
this year
year,
as
though.
well, okay.
Yeah, there
No,
was-
they
this
did
was
not
a
receive that
retention.
last year.
Oh,
I
they
could not
did?
recall when it
No,
is.
But
right,
we
never received it this
negotiated
year.
for this
Got it.
current negotiation period, and this is the first year of it, so. And it's a payment that's being paid at the end of the year, so you have to complete the year to get it. And it's prorated if you did not start the year with us.
Is it just this year? It's not for
No,
future
sure.
years?
This resolution is only for this year. 2 years were negotiated for the union individuals. But because the emergency's ending, we can always do it next year, but at this point, I think it's difficult to approve 2 years when the mitigating factors
Yeah.
may be gone.
Okay. So teachers get 2 right now, just classified is it just for this year? Teachers will get 1 more year?
Yes.
Okay.
Classified will get both years
Yeah,
too.
they
This
will.
is only the exempt status staff.
Ew.
So that's.
The difference between that is?
The exempt status staff include district office, administrative assistants, and administrators.
Okay.
Administrators in general, outside of Dave and myself.
Supervisors, directors.
Got it,
Maintenance.
okay.
Place
Thanks for the
staff.
clarification,
Yeah.
because if I don't understand that, I'm not sure if other people might who are listening.
Well, not
so-
maintenance,
yeah.
maintenance is classified. I'll be okay.
Okay, so this is for those that are not classified or
Yes.
certified, and
Correct.
just for this year, not for next year, even though classified and certified will get it for this year and next.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. May I roll call vote, please?
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yeah.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Item passes. I have motion for item 12, resolution establishment of capital projects fund.
I'll move.
Second.
Mr. Oliveria?
Yes. So this is a recommendation to establish a capital projects fund for the purpose of accumulating resources for acquisition, construction, or improvement of fixed assets of the school district. The third, let's see, the next page, the third paragraph, it is identified sort of the purpose of this, and it's to help the secondary campus master plan unfunded portion, which is between $9 and $10 million. Of course, we've got different resources that we're lining up. This is the opportunity to further help with about $5.5 million, which is really unidentified at this point in time. That's assuming that another $5.5 million has sort of been put into place to take care of things. The nice thing about this fund is that it doesn't just have to be spent on this master plan. There are a lot of other things that fit the description. Another nice thing about this fund is that if all the money isn't spent after 10 years, it automatically goes back to the fund that contributed to it. Another thing that's really nice about this fund is at some point before 10 years have elapsed, if the board decides that they don't want this fund to even exist, they can dissolve it and the money will go back to the fund in which
Very
came,
nice.
it came again. So this is a very flexible opportunity. I think that there's an opportunity this year, and I'd like to have a meeting with the Finance Committee later this month to discuss a 5-year forecast, and I'd like to review with them and hopefully bring a recommendation to the board to make a transfer out of the surplus from this year into this fund. And that would help us get to a point where we're not going to be stuck between having great ideas that we can't pay for and we can't move forward with.
So what's the benefit in this? Is it versus having the funds in the general fund?
It sort of shows everybody that we're committed to it. We're talking about entering contracts for large contract sums, and you know, the money's in a fund. It's committed. You know, there's no question that we could you know, do the work that you know we're talking about doing and where it's going to come from.
So this is to make up for like increases in the project, or is this for LFIs that might arise?
So this is complete. This has nothing to do with the OFCC project.
Nothing at
We've
all.
already got some money set aside for that. So it's unfunded projects. Yes, inflation has hurt these. These cost more than they did a year ago.
Okay.
So there's an inflationary component, but it's not to cover inflation.
Nothing
It's-
related to the basics
Yeah.
school building that
Exactly.
OFCC is covering, so any sort of LFIs would be covered.
Yeah, so that,
Okay.
you know, the unfunded projects would include the renovation of the 100 building, the PAC, the competition gym, ball fields.
And anything else?
Um,
Connectors?
There's also the possibility, if there's still money around, to perhaps the multi-purpose area, to save that. We don't know if that can be saved. It would be on our list, though, if we had the money to do it.
This in conjunction with donations from private parties.
Right.
So we're saying, okay, we'll come alongside you. We'll do
Yes.
this together.
And so this would immediately come out of the general fund, and then what you're talking about, is that true? This would-
Yeah, that's the recommendation I like to
Okay.
make, and again,
Then we
I'm
could-
not going to overspend the general fund. You know, we will still
Right.
live within our means for this
Right.
current year, so this doesn't impact anything other than the fact that we had money that we could have spent this year, and we didn't have to, and to put it to good use.
So is our surplus almost $1 million this year?
I expect.
Like if you look at the increase in revenues and the drop in expenses, it's just under $1 million right now.
I expect $1 million or
Okay.
more.
So you're putting 550,000 per year for the next 10 years.
But it's getting a jump now.
Well,
It could be
I'm
more
not
than
saying
this.
that we could do this next year.
But at least this year,
um,
550,000.
But, you know, certainly 2 or 3 years from now, the opportunity's gone. I don't believe any long, you know, that there'll be surpluses
So-
of any significant amount.
Right, so we're
more than 2
funding it
years out.
fully with this resolution?
No, I'm not
This is
moving
just-
the 5.5 million, that's
Okay.
just an
It's-
estimate that's
that's-
required.
Okay, you have to have the top end you can put in the fund then, or
Um,
just an estimate?
That can change, we could
Okay,
modify
great.
that, it could grow larger. At this point, I don't see a need to put more than this in here unless there's some significant change we're not
Okay.
anticipating.
So how much would be going in this year? Somewhere between 550,000 and $1 million?
I'd say between 550 and $1 million and 1.5 million.
Okay.
And this authorizes you to do this. We don't have another vote in the future.
So
to
what
authorize
this
it.
does is, it sets
The
up the
creation of
fund,
the fund.
it doesn't move any money
Okay.
next month. I will come to you with a recommendation on how
Great.
much.
Okay. Yeah, this is much more flexible than we've done before. It's really nice. So is this new revised code and those you
That's
refer.
not new, but let's say it's new to me.
We will be using it forever.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Alvear, can I roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Item passes. Motion for number 13, adoption of resolution, Ohio High School Athletic Association membership.
I will move.
I'll second.
Does everybody know what this is? So this is so we can be part of high school sports?
Yeah, it's an annual thing. We do it every May, and this
Yeah.
just sets us up for next school year to be a part of our league and a part of Ohio athletic competitions.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Mr. Alvear, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Gast?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Item passes. Item 14, review of assignments.
So I have for me, I am going to look into the exit survey we talked about, or even maybe not an exit survey, but a survey regarding students who no longer attend here, and share that with the board on where that's at currently. We will continue to finalize the Q&A document from the last two special board meetings around long-range facility planning. And then the other piece was I will look at and put on the next personnel committee agenda, exit surveys and stay surveys for our staff members.
I'm happy to help with any of the surveys if you want.
Okay, thank you.
Tony, do you and I need to meet and we have some evaluation things to meet about, don't we?
Yeah, so Lori's
So-
going to do her portion of the evaluation and
Okay.
get it to us. And
Great.
thank you, both you and Jane.
So as soon as that's the case, we can set up a time and you and I can meet.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want me to add that as a?
Yeah, if you add just Tony and
Yeah.
Ed and Eddie meeting about superintendent's evaluation. That should be able to be done in the next month, correct?
If you'd like, you can add me and Jamie as well.
The same for you, Dave.
Okay.
It is, Lori has just been asked for it in the last week, so.
Okay. If it
how
needs to
much
be,
time
if
you
it goes
prepare
past,
your portion.
no pressure.
It takes time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's not in the next month.
No, I'll get just maybe a week or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't
That'd be
don't
great.
worry about it.
Yeah.
I have another question a parent asked, why we no longer have graduations off campus. Is it just due to funds or?
Secondary campus just chooses to host here the administrative team because they feel like it's special because this is where the kids go to school and the staff is, so that's why it's switched back here.
I
This-
imagine that will have to change during construction.
That is part of the conversation during that time for sure.
As an alumni, it was special to me to graduate on campus. I would have been sad, and I think probably some of the other alumni probably were disappointed they had to graduate off campus.
It's what,
So-
2 years or 3 years? How long did that happen?
Not that anyone likes
Yeah,
being
it
in the hot
happened
gym.
for,
I'm
a
with
period
you.
of
When it
time.
rains.
Yeah, not that
it's
anyone
like on a
likes that.
gym.
Yeah.
So,
There is that chance, and that is one of the challenges, is the rain date. So, or last year we didn't do the rain date, we just did it inside.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I
We
wonder if our
also
gym
have the
renovations
board
might include AC.
self-assessment. Are you reaching out to Cheryl?
So,
Yes.
anyway. So, we'll see.
Yes.
A yes from our,
Yes.
yes. So that
Eddie
would
and
be
I are
nice.
meeting with the union representatives for paper on Wednesday.
I also had another staff member ask about an adult social night, if that's something we could facilitate. He mentioned that, I guess Princeton goes off, site to like a Catholic school and they serve like, beverages. Is that something we could do at Finneytown or,
Sure.
is there like, do we
For
have to have like a
staff, you're
liquor
saying?
license or?
Oh, you're talking about
I mean, just to,
Adult
we're gonna have adult beverages, we have to go to like a Catholic school or,
Go to the Catholic school for the adult beverage.
I think we'd have to find someone to fund it too.
Yeah.
They just pick a date.
I think if it's a fundraiser, like a Monte
Right.
Carlo night is something that athletic boosters brought up, then they have to find the venue and host it, but it would not be something we would host if there were alcoholic beverages on
Here.
campus. But it would be a possibility if one of our support organizations as a fundraiser wanted to do something off-site. And then they would organize all that. That would not be something the district itself would lead or facilitate.
Now, there was a family social once in the MP. Yeah, just general invitation for families to come. There was food. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to chance to meet a lot of families.
sorry.
No?
That's good. Okay. Okay, announcements. The next regular meeting of the Finneytown Board of Education will take place on Tuesday, June 20th, at 6:30 p.m. in the Media Center of the Finneytown Secondary Campus, 8916 Fontainebleau Terrace, Cincinnati, Ohio 45231. Open forum will begin at 6 p.m. We have a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Hey, June 20th is already.